Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. Just having a little bit of trouble sleeping, but not too bad. Try to keep this not too long. So I recently got a game that I've been meaning to get for quite some time. It's on sale at Steam. Probably not. Might even be sale might be even over with. So anyway, finally played Divinity Original. No, sorry, scratch that. Pillars of Eternity 2. Yeah, Pillars of Eternity 2. So this is a kind of a first impression um, video about Pillars of Eternity 2. So that's right, Pillars of Eternity 2. So of course I played Divinity Original Sin 2. Not 2, just the first one. I'm planning on playing the second one of that game in the future, of course. As well as probably Baldur's Gate 3, so long as, I probably want to wait till the full game's out rather than just early access stuff. It's a little pricey, of course. So, okay, Pillars of Eternity 2. I am amazed. This game, no joke. This game, I was kind of cajoled into playing Skyrim, I guess you could say, more or less. Um, in case you guys are wondering, Divinity Original Sin. Sorry, I keep getting this mixed up. Pillars of Eternity 2, mind you. Not the first one, but Pillars of Eternity 2 beats the royal snot out of Skyrim. Just beats it to a bloody pulp. Oh, and Skyrim fans are big into the graphics and first-person stuff. I get it. If you're into first-person shooters and that intense fighting stuff and all the craftsy stuff and everything that's in open world, it's Skyrim. If you want more story, if you want more, they both have lore and backstories. But if you actually want like interactions with people and meaningful dialogue, meaningful dialogue, you want to get lost in a place. You want to just enjoy yourself that way. Something really immersive, truly immersive, not just this first person thing, but meh. Wow, Pillars of Eternity 2 is just insanely good. Especially I got it for dirt cheap. It was $12 on sale. It was just nothing. This game is already so good that it's starting to push into the elite range. My favorite video games of all time have been Wheel of Time. Back in my old parents' PC, back in 2000 and 2001, 2002, and then Baldur's Gate, of course, right in that ballpark as well. Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah. And there are, of course, a few others that are kind of pushing up into that range, but it's those three games plus, for me, it's Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 plus Wheel of Time. And then also American McGee's Alice. I've also been playing a little bit of the second one of that, which I still want to get to some more as well. This game, and I've also played Dragon Age Origins. I've played Icewind Dale, and I played Neverwinter Nights, and Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, as well as yes, I tried Planescape Torment, didn't like it. What am I forgetting? Oh, some Harry Potter stuff, and also Fable, I think it's called. Yeah, Fable. And I mean, this game is amazing. Now, again, this is just my first impression kind of video about this thing, about this game. And if you haven't played Pillars of Eternity 2, and you enjoy this kind of game, it's a part. It's like you form a party. You have a party including yourself, of like 5 people. So it's including yourself. So four other people, 4 other people in addition to you. Divinity Original Sin 2, both 1 and 2 are highly rated, but number 2 is probably even better, right? That's still a little pricey, but in those games you only can have three people in your party. Three people other than you, and I have a guy and a gal or something. I don't know. It's interesting setup. I don't know how they. At least that was the case with the first game. But yeah, in Pillars of Eternity 2, it's you get a little bit more of a nice sized party. So it's like Baldur's Gate that way. Again, just so 5 is still nice. It's nice size. I know Wizardry 8, they had 8 different people. That game. Anyway, so oh man, I mean, it's just like I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to say anything spoiler wise, but it's just you have a lot of freedom. By the way, after you get out of the first island, um, you can kind of go anywhere you want to in the ocean. You go to these different islands and stuff in the ocean, and you kind of need to be careful though how many skulls you're looking at with different interactions. How it works is if there's no skulls, then it's no problem. If there's 1 skull, it's going to be challenging. If there's 2 skulls, it's going to be too hard for you. Probably. If it's 3 skulls, just forget it. And if it's red and 3 skulls, you're just to be toast. It's just no way, kind of thing. And yeah, so much awesome stuff to mention about this game. All of the best characters, in my opinion, or all the main characters you can have in your earlier party in the first game of Pillars of Eternity, you can have in this game. So like they got the best ones. The guys knew who the best guys were, and they put them in there. Yeah, so, Eder, the big blonde guy, who's a fighter, as well as the elf mage. That guy starts with the A. And then also the black Palandra, I think, black paladin woman, and somebody else. I think those are the 3. Yeah, no, it's better Palandra and the elf wizard guy. I think those are the 3 that I remember from the first game. But the other ones that I've seen, there's a elf rogue. She's pretty cool. And kind of a healer type woman. And she's really cool too. They're all great characters. And it's interesting that, they have these different set up a little differently. Like again, you have this ship, and you try to get people to join your shipmates and your crew basically, and you have to feed them, you have to pay them a little bit of gold every so often, and depending on what kind of food and drink you give them, it influences their morale. You have fights on the sea, battles, and then you land in islands, you kind of travel to different spots that some spots have supplies, some spots you trade, some spots are ruins, you can get stuff, and some spots are more exploratory, caves or whatever. And you have, of course, cities. Some of them are rather big, slums and rich places and all kinds of stuff like that. Ah, man. And then the thing I like about Pillars of Eternity 2 is that one of many things. The first game, I mentioned this in my first review of Pillars of Eternity 1 quite some while back. It's really hard to follow all the new lore, the unique lore about this world, this area, Pillars of Eternity. It's very different, as I mentioned in my review of the first game. It's very different than anything else that I've ever come across my entire life. And so there are a lot of terms that were very new. Since I already played that game, playing this game, I already knew how a lot of this stuff worked. There's still things that, I'm like, what? The thing is that you're interacting with, like, I guess you could say the equivalent of, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons gods, but it's a polytheistic world. You're interacting with different gods, multiple gods, different personalities, different moral alignments. Sometimes they change. These gods are not perfect. They're not Elohim. They just have godlike powers. So they're still not quite God, right? Or at least not like Owl the Overfather in Faerun kind of thing. But they're still like Greek gods, and so yeah, it's weird that it's a similar kind of. I mean, there's some things from the first game that kind of some themes that cross over to the second game, and I thought the theme in the first game was great. It's just it was hard to get into it. It's just a different kind of thing. I think that everything is handled a lot better in the second game. It's much easier to know what to give which person. It's much easier to know how spells work and everything. It's a little bit easier to kind of navigate everything, especially if you've played the first game. But even if you haven't played the first game, the second game is so much. It's easier to wrap your head around what's going on a little bit. It still is rather confusing and can be a little confusing, but not nearly as much as the first game. I mean, the first game you had this guy who was a little bit older, as this healer, and it's just everything was so mysterious. It was so serious and mysterious, and it's kind of humorless, kind of grim and stuff. The second game is different. The second game, I think it's more fun. It's more fun character interactions, in my opinion. So of course, as just kind of the same thing with the first game, this second game, Pillars of Eternity with Obsidian. Yes, they made it a very inclusive game, so it's not just Europeans. It's, yeah. And with the more darker complexioned races of not only humans but other beings, there's definitely, just like in the first one, there's a lot of Polynesian. What's like you're not really sure. They kind of mix it up. They do different things like that. But it's like, I don't know, darker skinned tribes of humans that have Italian accents or Italian sounding names, but they're still kind of black or Polynesian or something. Not, I haven't really seen any Asians per se. Maybe Asiatic a little bit, but American Indian, not so much either. It's more Polynesian or something kind of southeast or southern Asia. I don't know. Just kind of tribal, I guess you could say. Polynesian's probably the best way of putting it. Maybe Melanesian is probably better, but not really African either. So they do a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. It's great. I mean, if you're Tongan and Samoan, it's like, yeah. And there's even more of a Polynesian feel about some places in this game than in the first one, because this is islands in the tropics. A lot of this area is the tropics. So anyway, some other thoughts here. Okay, with regard to the whole where to buy stuff, what to buy, it can be a little bit confusing. I'm kind of making sense of where the different shops are to go to. How long it'll take, to get to different places, to get what you need. And I just kind of getting the feel of all that. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's kind of fun. But there's that feeling of, oh man, I wish I would have sold that one thing. Yeah. Yep. What is interesting, okay, so getting back to shops and merchants and stuff. There's a lot of gold to get. And I don't know, this whole aspect of the game. I mean, for instance, in Skyrim, literally, it's just gold keeps respawning everywhere. There's literally way too much gold in Skyrim. There's way too much. I mean, it's ridiculous. In Pillars of Eternity, it's not quite that lucrative, we'll say. Yes, no, it's... I'm finding it really easy to spend too much money on not healing potions, but really ritzy or pricey food, because you're basically getting food for the most part for your crew, and your crew can kind of survive on cheap food, hardtack and rice, water, and then you give them a little bit of ale or meat or whatever, lager beer. You give them some meat, their morale perks right up. You share some gold with them, with the crew. And I think you want your crew to be, I think, about 50% morale. Somewhere in that ballpark. But it can be kind of tricky. It's tricky to kind of figure out the money thing there. So one of the best ways of making money is when you find stuff, you find better stuff than what you have equipment-wise, you sell your equipment. And in a lot of battles with pirates and stuff, you end up getting some good stuff, So you can get a lot of money from just battles. And especially, I think, I look forward now to having battles. I don't avoid ships anymore. And the stronger, you get, I think the more that you're going to want to, fight pirates and stuff. But the whole, going by ship in different places, you don't always know what to expect. That's why it's so fun. It's very unexpected. Um, it's intense. Man, and you have to keep your ship in good repair. And there's cannons, upgrading your cannons and medical supplies. Anyway, I have to be honest too. Just this is just the way these quest things are. Not always thrilled with a lot of quests that are given in a lot of games. When I was playing Skyrim, and I've mentioned a lot about Skyrim, most Skyrim quests are not really all that fun. Not really. The funnest thing about Skyrim, well, I know what it is, but it's kind of the um, just exploration, I guess you could say. But again, just like Oblivion, it's a little more special than Oblivion. But yeah, so the thing is, though, is there are some kind of I wouldn't say there's really too much mediocre, or definitely there's no quest that's really stupid, dumb quest that takes a long time. At least all the quests that I've actually done have so far been fairly enjoyable. Like, that's impressive. I haven't done a whole lot of them, but I think that the makers of this game were like, let's actually make quests, like side quests, because there's the main thing, but let's make side quests that people actually want to play, actually want to do. I don't know, they were definitely thinking about that stuff. And there's some content, there's some quests already, even as I'm only level 7. I'm not really that far along. Level 7 something, but it's not. I'm still kind of, yeah. But wow, there are some really fun quests I've done already. Oh, man. And there's one place in a big city, I shouldn't get into it, but there's a place that is really fun to explore. That you wouldn't think it would be. You'd think, it's nasty, right? I don't want to give too much away, but oh man. I guess it was just one of my favorite rogue, um, bum, thief type areas I've ever been in any game. It's great. So I'm playing on classic mode right now. Not classic mode, sorry. Well, it's the second to easiest mode, but I never do the easiest mode. I either do middle or the one that's a little bit easier than the middle option. And I just, it's fine if you guys want to do the easiest or the hardest stuff. I just, the other thing too about the first game, I remember about Pillars of Eternity, was that there was an odd red dragon that I thought was just, forget it. I suppose it was beatable, but it was so insanely difficult that I didn't feel bad. I'd never felt bad not killing it. The designers really made that odd red dragon virtually almost impossible to beat. Harder than anything I've ever faced. And so I was just like, no, I'm good. I killed the bad guy in Pillars of Eternity 1. Part of me is wondering if they're going to have a similar boss in Pillars of Eternity 2. If they do, which is entirely possible, I won't feel obligated to have to kill him or kill it or whatever. I'm just going to say, oh, this is the big guy you try to kill once, well, if you want to kill something more powerful than even, I don't know. Anyway, it's the extra mile kind of antagonist. I don't know if they'll have that yet. I just know that Otter Dragon was ridiculously powerful. And it wasn't really, to be honest, that dragon wasn't necessarily super evil in the first game. It was just territorial or something. I don't know. And I'm kind of getting a little bit more fond of the whole gods thing, polyistic thing. It's actually kind of fun. I know that Obsidian didn't intend it to be this way, but when you're talking to these gods, again, they're just kind of like, to me, they're just extra powerful dudes, guys, creatures, sentient beings. They're not really gods, but I mean, if they truly were like gods, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of different ways that we give that term, but anyway, I won't get into that. But, all right, leave you guys leaving thoughts or comments below. Catch you later. Take care.